Hello guys, my topic is supply network design, supply side and demand side. So let's start. The supply network perspective. It is setting an operation to have interacts between suppliers and its consumer. Materials, parts, other information, ideas, and sometimes people all flow through the network of customer-supplier relationships formed by all these operations. On its supply side, an operation has its suppliers of parts, or information, or services. These suppliers themselves have their own suppliers, who in turn could also have suppliers and so on. On the demand side, the operation has customers. These customers might be the final consumer of the operation product or services. They might have their own set of customers. So dito natin makikita sa table na to kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng yung supplier, hindi lang sila yung pinaka-supplier, and yung customer ay hindi lang sila yung magiging pinaka-end consumer ng isang product. For example lang sa supply side ay itong plastic homer manufacturer, ito nasa gitna, hindi lang sila yung pinaka-supplier nitong wholesaler and retailer. May dalawa pang pwede maging supplier nito, which is plastic stockist and chemical company. Ayun yung sa supply side. Sa demand side naman na sinasabi na hindi lang isa yung magiging end consumer or customer ng isang product. Ang ibig sabihin nito ay ito yung tinatawag na, for example, itong manufacturer nito, itong plastic homer manufacturer, hindi lang sila yung magiging end consumer or customer nitong chemical company and plastic stockist. Maaaring pwede pang itong wholesaler and retailer. Yan lang. Then second is, we consider the whole supply network. So why is it important to stand back and look back at the whole or a large part of a supply network rather than an individual operation? It helps an understanding of competitiveness, immediate customers, and immediate suppliers. It helps identify significant links in the network. Not everyone in supply network has the same degree of influence over the performance of the network as a whole. Some operations contribute more to the performance objectives that are valued by end customers. So an analysis of networks need to understand the downstream and upstream operation which contribute most to the end customer service. Reasons for location decisions. Not all operation can logically justify their location. Some are where they are for historical reasons. Yet even the operations that are there are because they are there are implicitly making a decision not to move. Presumably, their assumption is that the cost and disruption involved in changing location would outweigh any potential benefits of a new location. When operations do move, it is usually for one or both of two reasons: changes in demand or changes in the supply. Changes in demand, a change in location may be prompted by customers demanding shifting. For example, to meet higher demand, an operation could expand its existing site or choose a larger site in another location, or keep its existing location and find a second location for an additional operation. The last option will involve a location decision. So ito yung una. First is high visibility operations. May not have the choice of expanding on the same site to meet rising demand. It is because it attracts only marginally more business by expanding an existing site because it offers a local and therefore convenient services. So ito yung sinasabi dito na hindi lahat ng lumilipat ng location ay nagpapalaki ng lugar or naghahanap ng demand. Ito yung sinasabi dito na itong high visibility operation, ito yung location decision na mas piniplace nila yung operation nila, services nila dun sa mas madaling maka-offer ng services dun sa mga customer or consumer. Second is finding a new location for an additional operation is probably its only option for expansion. Changes in supply, the other stimulus for relocation is changes in the cost or availability of the supply of inputs to the operation. For example, a mining or oil company will need to relocate as the minerals it is extracting become depleted. So sa supply side naman, ito naman yung local decision na naka-affect yung pagbaba na supply. For example na sinasabi dito si mining or oil company na na kailangan nila mag-relocate kasi bumababa na yung minerals na nakukuha nila. Third is, in summary, these are the objectives of location decision. Number 1, the especially variable cost of the operation. Especially variable means that something changes with geographical location. The service the operation is able to provide to its customers. The revenue potential of the operation. Supply side factors, which vary to influence cost as location varies. For example, labor cost, land cost, energy cost, transportation cost, community factors. So, sa demand side factors naman ay which vary to influence customer service revenue as location varies. Labor skill, stability of site, image, convenience for customers. Sa supply side influences, under of labor cost is the cost of employing people with particular skills can vary between different areas in any country, but are likely to be more significant when international comparisons are made. Labor costs can be expressed in two ways. The hourly cost is what firms have to pay workers on average per hour. However, the unit cost is an indication of the labor cost per unit of production. This includes the effects both of productivity differences between countries and of differing currency exchange rates. Land cost. The cost of acquiring the site itself is sometimes a relevant factor in choosing a location. Land and rental costs vary between countries, cities, and districts. A retail operation, when choosing high street sites, will pay a particular level of rent only if it believes it can generate a certain level of revenue from the site. Energy cost. Operations which use large amount of energy, such as aluminum smelters, can be influenced in their location decisions by the availability of relatively inexpensive energy. This may be direct, as in the availability of hydroelectric generation in an area, or indirect, such as low-cost coal, which can be used to generate inexpensive electricity. Transportation cost. Transportation cost includes both the cost of transportation inputs from their source to the site of the operation and the cost of transporting outputs to customers. Whereas almost all operations are concerned to some extent with the former, not all operations transport goods to customers, rather customers come to them. For example, hotels. So, dito sa transportation cost, operations that do transport their goods to customers. Most manufacturers, for example, we consider transportation as supply side factors because as the location changes, transportation costs also change. Sources of supply dominates the location decision where the cost of transporting inputs materials is high or difficult. Food processing and other agricultural-based activity, for example, are often carried out close to growing areas. Conversely, transportation to customers dominates location decision where this is expensive or difficult. Community factors. Community factors are those influences on operation costs which derive from the social, political, economic environment of its sites. This includes such as things as local tax rates, government, financial assistance and planning assistance, politically, stability and corruption, language, local amenities, school, theaters, shops, and etc. Availability of support and supply, infrastructure, labor relations, environmental regulation, and waste disposal, planning, procedures, and etc. So dito, explain ko dito yung sa labor cost. So dito sa labor cost, bakit siya naging supply side influences? Kasi sinasabi dito na sa ibang bansa kasi iba't iba yung rate na makukuha and may tinatawag silang the hourly cost and the unit cost. Sa hourly cost, ito yung average time na tinatrabaho ng isang workers. Tapos dito naman sa unit cost, ito yung kung gaano karami or gaano karami yung production na napoproduce ng isang manggagawa dun sa isang service or operation. Sa land cost naman, ito yung depende kasi sa land cost yung presyo ng ng place. sabi dito, it's like countries or cities and districts. Sa iba, pag sa mga kilalang cities, mas mahal yung makuha mong land cost. Sa energy cost, ganun din. Parang may pagka-same lang din sila ng land cost. Mas mataas yung nakukuha ng energy cost. Depende dun sa laki um, um, ng place na nakuha mo. So, sa next is, sa transportation cost naman, ito um, yung parang ginagamit ng customer para ma-avail yung isang service or product ng isang company or ng isang store. For example na lang yung meron dito yung pag-transport din ng goods na mostly ginagamit sa manufacturers. Then, sa una kasi, pwedeng yung customer yung pupunta sa isang operation or services like hotel, ganon. Then meron naman sa isang operation naman na mismo manufacturer or mismong services yung pupunta sa tao para i-deliver yung goods. Sa community factors, ito naman yung influence ng political and economic environment. So, dito makikita yung tax, government financial assistance, yung planning assistance, political stability. Depende sa economic yung economic ng isang bansa yung magiging cost ng isang services or operation. Dito naman tayo sa demand side influences. Labor skills. The abilities of a local labor force can have an effect on customers' reaction to the products or services which the operation producers. For example, science parks are usually located close to the universities because they have to attract companies who are interested in using the skills available at the university. Suitability of the site itself. Different sites may have different intrinsic characteristics which can affect an operation's ability to serve customers and generate revenue. For example, locate a luxury resort hotel next to the beach, surrounded by waving palm trees and overlooking a picturesque bay, and the hotel is very attractive to its customers. Move it a few kilometers away into the center of an industrial estate and it rapidly loses its attraction. Image of the location. Some locations are firmly associated in customers' minds with a particular image. The product and fashion design houses of Milan and the financial services in the city of London are also enjoy a reputation shaped partly by their location. Next is convenience for customers. This is often the most important demand side factor. Locating a general hospital, for instance, in the middle of the countryside may have many advantages for its staff and even perhaps for its cost, but it clearly would be very inconvenient to its customers' patients. So hospitals usually located close to the centers of demand. Similarly with the other public services and restaurants, stores, banks, petrol filling stations, etc. Location determines that efforts to which customers to go in order to use the operation. So, dito sa labor skill, ito yung ability ng isang local labor kung dito mapapakita ng isang labor skills yung sa customer kung paano mapapareact yung isang customer dun sa para magkaroon ng demand. Depende na lang yun sa magiging performance ng isang labor. Kung maganda, hindi mas maraming tao yung magtatangkilik ng services nila or operation. So, tataas yung demand. Sa suitability of the site itself, for example, nilang dito, yung luxury resort na kailangan na pwesto mo dun sa beach and surrounding ng mga puno, ganon. Kaysa dun sa pwesto mo dun sa may mga industrial estate. So, matataas, parang hindi siya pansinin. Mas maganda yung mga site na unang kita mo palang ma-attract na agad yung customer. So, tataas yung demand. Sa image of the location, dito naman yung mismong design ng location mo or mismong surroundings ng location mo. Kasi makikita mo rin dito dito mo rin malalaman yung kung tataas yung demand ng or kung tatangkilikin ka ng isang customer or hindi. Kasi kung pangit yung location mo, so parang magdadalang isip yung customer na pumunta sa operation mo or services. Then lastly, ito yung pinaka-importante, yung convenience for customers. Binigay dito ng example is yung hospitals na kung mas malapit siya dun sa kung sa gitna siya ng countryside, parang convenient siya dun sa stop. Pero ang hinahabol kasi dito yung demand ng customer or consumer na or yung convenient dun sa customer or consumer kung ano yung mas mapapadali sa kanila. So mas pipiliin nila doon ipesto yung kanilang place. Siyempre doon sa mas madaling puntaan or mas madaling i-access ng mga customers. So yun, dito lang nagtatapos yung report. Thank you.